We might be witnessing the final chapter of Bronny James's NBA journey. And no, that's not an overreaction. There's real smoke behind this fire. This isn't about his rough preseason. That's just a small piece of a much bigger story. It's about why he's even in this league to begin with. Everyone knows the truth. It's because of LeBron James. And that right there is where everything starts getting complicated. See, Bronny didn't just walk into the NBA like any other rookie grinding for years to earn a roster spot. He walked into a situation already built for him. And while a lot of people won't say it out loud, that's exactly what's making fans furious. Some say, wait, what about the Antetokounmpo brothers? Giannis has his brothers on the roster too, right? True, but here's the difference. Nobody's trying to sell Thanasis or Alex as the future of the Bucks. Thanasis is there to keep Giannis happy. Alex is on a two-way deal, not even a guaranteed NBA roster spot. And everyone knows it. Milwaukee doesn't fake it. They don't stand in front of cameras pretending those guys are cornerstone pieces. Now imagine if the Bucks were out here telling the world that Thanasis and Alex were the next faces of the franchise. People would be destroying them. The backlash would be insane. But with the Lakers and Bronny, that's exactly what happened. From day one, the narrative was a carefully polished lie. This kid missed double-digit games at USC, averaged just 5 points per game after a terrifying cardiac arrest. In any normal scenario, that player would have returned to college, developed, and earned his shot the hard way. But in LeBron's world, things work differently. Bronny wasn't just drafted, he was delivered. And when the Lakers stood up in front of their fans saying, "Bronny earned this, we didn't give him anything," that's when the public turned. Not because they hate Bronny as a person, but because everyone could see through the script. Bronny James's future in the NBA isn't just about how many points he scores. It's tied to something way bigger. LeBron James himself. And here's the hard truth. The foundation holding Bronny in this league is starting to crack. LeBron's contract is expiring after this season. He has no guaranteed team beyond that. And more importantly, he's now dealing with sciatica, a painful nerve condition that doesn't just go away. This isn't your typical ankle sprain or knee soreness. It's the kind of injury that tells your body, hey, it's time to slow down. It's the kind of injury that whispers retirement. And when LeBron eventually steps away, what happens to Bronny? His entire NBA existence was built on that father-son dream, the emotional storyline, the legacy branding. But the NBA doesn't run on emotions forever. It runs on results. Here's where things get cold. When Bronny was drafted, he signed a deal worth nearly $8 million, with the first 2 years guaranteed. But next season, that's year 3. And in year 3, the Lakers can cut him loose, clean and easy. No questions asked, no dead money, no penalty, just a phone call from the front office that could change his life. The stars are quietly aligning for one brutal possibility. Bronny James could be out of the NBA before he even truly arrives. The same storyline that made his debut so special could be the very reason his exit feels so cold. But, and this is a big but, there is a way for Bronny to flip everything. There's still a window to prove he belongs. If he finally becomes the kind of player the Lakers have been selling to the world, everything changes. The critics go quiet, the narrative shifts, and Bronny controls his own story. The question is that happening right now? Head coach JJ Redick tried to paint an optimistic picture before the preseason, saying Bronny looked more comfortable, more confident, like a totally different player. But let's strip the PR and look at the reality. Shooting, the one skill that could unlock Bronny's offensive game, still isn't there. At USC, he shot just 26% from 3. In his first NBA season, that climbed slightly to 28%. And now in this preseason, he's gone 2 for 13 from deep. That's 15% from behind the arc. The form looks clean, the mechanics aren't broken, but the results are brutal. Why? 2 main reasons. First, most of his shots are off the dribble or heavily contested. Low percentage looks even for elite shooters. Second, there's no consistent rhythm. His game feels reactive, not aggressive. And that's where the bigger problem starts. It's not just about missed shots, it's about energy. Bronny's body language has become a flashing red light. Too often, he looks passive, nonchalant, almost like a player who believes he's already earned his spot, not someone fighting to keep it. Watch his transition defense, and it tells you everything. Instead of sprinting back, cutting off lanes, or crashing the boards, he jogs behind the ball. That's not what a hungry rookie does. That's not what a player on the edge of being cut can afford. And this lack of urgency bleeds into the half court too. On offense, he drifts, stays stationary on the perimeter, doesn't cut hard, doesn't relocate to create passing angles. These aren't just small mistakes, they're the kind of habits that get players erased from rotations. Right now, Bronny isn't being judged like a typical rookie. He's being judged under a microscope by fans who already believe he didn't earn this spot. That means every lazy step, every soft closeout, every bricked jumper is amplified 1,000 times louder. He's not just playing against defenders. He's playing against expectations, against the noise, against his father's shadow. And unless something changes fast, that clock above his NBA career, it's already ticking. When the ball gets driven toward the left block, this is Bronny's golden moment to make a difference. Any seasoned NBA player knows that this is the time to relocate, shift into space, and force the defense to react. But instead of creating a passing angle that could lead to an open three or draw a closeout, Bronny just stands there. He remains shifted up top, letting the defender comfortably sit in the passing lane. And with that, the entire offensive possession collapses. No spacing, no advantage, no pressure on the defense. That's the brutal reality of how invisible he can be off the ball. And that's exactly the problem. Off-ball impact is crucial in the NBA. This league is filled with guys who don't need the ball to bend defenses. Players who move with intent, cut hard, space the floor smartly. If you're not doing that, you're making life harder for your teammates. And right now, Bronny isn't a real threat without the ball in his hands. All right, but what happens when the ball is in his hands? Let's talk about that. Bronny opened the preseason as the backup point guard against Phoenix and Golden State, two teams that are loaded with elite perimeter defenders. And right out of the gate, you could see the gap. Bronny isn't good at absorbing defensive pressure. NBA guards are quicker, longer, more physical. They don't give him space to breathe. And when they get into his chest, Bronny gets sped up, losing rhythm and making rushed decisions. Out of pick and roll, it's a similar story. At 6'3", he's undersized compared to many wings. He struggles to finish efficiently from all three levels, and since he doesn't move much off-ball, defenders can collapse on him without worrying about relocation or spacing. His offense becomes predictable. But to be fair, it's not all bad. Bronny's passing has shown real improvement. He's gotten much better at finding the roller, whether it's a soft lob over the top or a perfectly timed pocket dime. That part of his game shows he has good vision and IQ. But here's the issue. The Lakers already have two elite passers on the roster. So what they need from Bronny isn't just passing. They need 3&D. Spacing, hustle, defensive pressure, energy. But on defense, that's where it gets even more concerning. This was literally the first defensive possession of the preseason. The arena is buzzing. Players are supposed to be locked in. But as the ball crosses half court, Bronny has his back turned to the action. One step behind, unfocused. And just like that, the opponent gains an edge. It's not a talent issue here. It's engagement, consistency, dog mentality. And in the NBA, especially for a guy who's not a 6'8" freak athlete or an elite shot creator, you must win on the margins. So far, Bronny hasn't. Now, there's one bright spot that a lot of fans point to, his time in the G League last season. He averaged around 19 points a game and shot 38% from three. He even exploded for 39 points against Santa Cruz, an incredible scoring night no matter the level. But here's where reality hits hard. Those G League numbers don't always mean much in the NBA. Why? Because NBA teams don't sign G League scorers to lead their offenses. They sign role players, guys who can defend, space the floor, and fit next to stars. Of the last 20-plus G League MVPs, almost none have become impact players in the NBA. Bronny's success down there is impressive, yes, but it's not a golden ticket. And at 6'3", if you're not an elite defender like Gary Payton II, then what's your role? The Lakers already have defensive question marks with Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, and LeBron James. So adding Bronny, who's also not a defensive stopper, creates even more pressure on a team trying to contend. This isn't like Thanasis Antetokounmpo on the Bucks, where the team isn't relying on him to be a difference maker. This is the Lakers, a team that needs every single roster spot to count. Right now, the West is brutal. Oklahoma City Thunder are defending champs. Denver Nuggets have Nikola Jokic playing the best basketball of his career with the deepest team he's ever had. If the Lakers want to hang with those teams, they can't afford dead weight. And if Bronny doesn't give them real production, that's what he becomes, a wasted slot. But this isn't the end of the story, yet. Bronny has a chance to flip this narrative. LeBron is expected to miss time this season due to his lingering sciatica issues. That means more minutes, more touches, and more opportunity for Bronny to prove he belongs. If he can bring energy, sharpen his defense, and find a rhythm offensively, he could change everything. But if he doesn't, then we may be watching Bronny James's NBA career fade out right alongside his dad's. And for a player who's carried the weight of expectations since high school, this next stretch might be the most defining chapter of his basketball life.